Okay, I just wanted to say a few words about the incident yesterday, if that's possible. The first thing I'd like to say is that we have checked on Andrew Brayshaw, and thankfully he's going pretty well at the present stage. I spoke to Mark last night, and Mark and his wife Deborah were with Andrew, and fortunately he's in a reasonable position considering what happened. And as a club, obviously, we're very disappointed at the incident. We take full ownership of the incident, as does Andrew, and Gaffy's not in a great shape himself, but we understand the incident happened, and we are fully apologetic to Andrew Brayshaw and the family and the Fremantle Football Club for the incident. So I wanted to open with that and take some questions from there if possible.
How was the conversation with Mark Brayshaw?
Oh, very good. I mean, if anyone knows Mark, he's a great guy. He's played footy with Adam Simpson. He understands the club that we've got here. Hamish is playing here, and consequently he was very understanding of the incident that had gone wrong. So it was something that it was a really good and fruitful conversation. So I was very pleased that I got hold of him.
Does he take the view that it was an assault, or does he take the view that it was just one of those things that happens?
You'd have to ask him.
It's an interesting situation that both Hamish, Brayshaw and Gaffer on the same list. How have you approached that?
Well, it's not difficult. I mean, both kids are great kids. They're trying to forge their careers at the two clubs in town, so consequently you just have to deal with each player as an individual. However, this is quite an unusual circumstance, and consequently, knowing Mark, and I've known Mark for a number of years, it wasn't an easy conversation, but it's a conversation that we had, and Adam's also spoken to Mark, and consequently we're now got a process to follow with our own player to ensure that we follow the rules and go through this process.
Has Gav spoken to Andy since the incident, and if he did, what did he say?
Oh, I don't know.
Mr. Nisbett, what about the behaviour of the fans after the incident? There was a lot of cheering for Gaff. He was embraced by the players after he kicked the goal. There's a lot of criticism of Eagles fans saying that they were that was over the top, and they shouldn't have supported him like they did.
I'm not sure if you're at the football, but I didn't see the incident myself. So there would have been a lot of fans, I would say, that weren't aware of the incident per se. So I would guess that they saw the other incidents where Andrew was knocked over and so forth. So I guess they were just following the footy to... I think that's probably the only explanation, but certainly our fans were very up and about when those incidents happened in the third quarter.
You've spoken out against violence on the field before, particularly in relation to the Amateur Football League. A few years ago you said that anyone who engaged in extreme violence should be deregistered and the game should be played in the right spirit and so on. This is at the highest level, so how do you reflect on that?
Well, there's probably different circumstances. All circumstances need to be looked at in the fresh light of day, and it depends on the incident that occurred, and because we have a process in place, the AFL will deal with it. Andrew will have to go through the process like every other player's had to in the past, and he will in the future.
Your comments a few years ago were actually prompted by a broken jaw.
That's correct, yes. I remember the incident. It happened at amateur level, and it was a totally different incident to this one.
Well, in this case, Brayshaw's got a broken jaw. He's lost 4 teeth. Gaff's lost the chance of winning a Brownlow, and he'll probably lose a few games. Who's the biggest loser?
Oh, that's not for me to say.
Well, you can categorise it, can't you? I mean,
no, I'm not prepared to.
You're injured, and the other one's going to some sort of penalty. Who's lost more?
Well, that happens on a regular basis during the year when people go through the process at the AFL, and that'll happen again.
What do you think about the debate moving into the area of criminal charges?
Well, again, I'm not prepared to go there. some of those inflammatory comments by some people just are unwarranted, because everyone knows we've got a process in the AFL, and the club will take the process to the tribunal. The AFL will deal with it. The player will get the penalty that the AFL tribunal deems as deserved in this case.
Are there any back channel conversations going on with the police to perhaps try and head off any criminal charges?
No.
No one from the club is talking to the police at the moment about the eventuality or the possibility of charges?
No.
Are you
What
aware
about
that the
community
police commissioner
standards,
today has said that it'll be assessed? Are you,
Beg pardon?
the police commissioner today has said that the incident will be assessed by them. Are you aware that he's made those comments?
No, I haven't been made aware of that.
You got any thoughts now about that, given you said that some of the inflammatory comments are, that probably changes the context of what you said?
Yeah, I'd be very hopeful that we let the process go through the AFL like all other processes do.
Will he be basically just throwing himself at the mercy of the tribunal, or is there any defence that he would be throwing up in as part of
That's with our QC now, so we'll find out what happens at the tribunal.
Adam Simpson said yesterday that he believed that it perhaps wasn't intentional. Do you stand by what Adam said yesterday?
Well, it may not have been intentional, but we'll have to get that from Andrew when he talks to the tribunal, because I mean it's just it's totally out of character when a player who has never been reported at any level through juniors, through all his senior 174 games, and it just came out of the blue. So we're as disappointed as we are with Andrew and the incident. It just seemed extraordinary that it happened yesterday.
Is there any? Oh, sorry.
You said he's not in good shape. Can you just tell us, Niz, have you spoken to him today, and what are the...
I spoke to Andrew Gaff last night, and he was beside himself with what happened. I think people saw the remorse he has under this situation, but it doesn't go to exonerate him from the action, and he has to take responsibility, which he's taking, but he's taking it pretty tough.
You said it was mentioned before about Hamish. Do you have to deal with that situation of the brother being a teammate?
Well, we will and are. It's a difficult situation. I think 5 days ago the brothers and Andrew Gaff were on the golf course together. So it's an extraordinary situation that we all find ourselves in at the moment. We're very grateful that Andrew Brayshaw's in reasonable shape considering what happened, and his parents are accepting of Andrew Gaff's apology.
So they've got a bit of a relationship, have they, Gaffy and Andy?
Yes, they have.
Can you expand on that? Just what, aside from golf, is it more than just a game of golf? Or?
Well, I think it's a genuine friendship. The kids come through this system all the time, and it wouldn't surprise you with Hamish at our club that there is a reasonable relationship there.
Mr. Nisbett, the general view seems to be that it was an assault. Is that how you would classify it? If you put that in the context of that happening out on the street, that's a dead set assault.
We view the on-field incidents as a means of going through a process when people are reported, things happen, incidents happen. So we're looking at it as an on-field incident, and it'll go through the correct processes at the AFL.
Yeah, but that doesn't remove it. By saying it's an on-field incident in a game, as I said, if you took that outside of the game, it's an assault. It's open to the police laying criminal charges.
There are a lot of things that happen in a game of football that people can put into context any way they like. But in this case, we'll allow the AFL tribunal to look at this system, and that's what we'll do.
Perhaps it's time to do that. To put it in that context of what goes on outside the game should be applied now to what goes on inside.
That is not for us to make comment on that. We'll let it go through to the AFL, and the AFL will deal with it through the process.
Is there any desire from the club for Gaff to front the tribunal in person?
Well, we'll have to weigh that up. We don't know the timing of the tribunal, and we assume it's going direct to the tribunal. We haven't been notified of that as yet. But if it does, then we'll have to weigh that up, how we deal with that.
He's been on both sides of it with the Staker one as well. So what are your thoughts on send-off rules, players going back on after these sorts of incidents?
Well, if you remember rightly, Andrew Gaff's been on the end of this as well. So I guess the AFL will consider that. And they have considered it in the past, the send-off rule. They've considered red cards. They've considered a number of rule changes when these incidents happen. But I guess they'll have to make up their own mind whether they want to go down that path. Look, I don't have a definite opinion. I'd have to, when you look at the data and so on, some of these incidents happen from time to time, but they're pretty rare, and hopefully they stay rare.
How's the relationship between the two clubs? It hasn't been great years. The controversy with the medal earlier on in the year, and 2 and 4 back and now this. What's the relationship like between West Coast and Freo?
Well, it's probably strained, certainly strained at the present stage, but that has happened through our history, I guess. If you look back over the years, there's been times when we haven't agreed on a number of issues, but I guess when you're fiercely competitive in our marketplace, that's going to happen.
Is it a healthy relationship?
Yeah, I think there is a relationship there. It's sometimes it's healthy, sometimes it's not.
You said you've spoken to the club, you've spoken to Rossi, you've spoken to Chris Bond. Who have you spoken to at Fremantle?
No, our chairman has spoken to Dale Alcott.
Is there any concern in the club about the separation between community standards and what happens on the ground? You cover courts, you see this kind of thing on CCTV footage, it's presented in court. It's accepted as GBH, and the perpetrator will say, well, I didn't mean to do that much damage. But on the field, it means a few matches missed and that's it.
Look, I can't comment on those things. All I can comment on is that we have a process in place. The process is going to be followed. We have a tribunal that will meet and sit on this, and that's the process that is in football. And it will stay that way until it changes, until the AFL decide they want to change those rules.
Is it make of Ross Lyon's
time for
comments?
those rules to change?
Well, it may be. The AFL will make those decisions in due course, but certainly from our point of view, we'll watch the process and see how it unfolds.
Have you asked Gaff why he even took the swing in the first place?
Look, in his emotional state last night, it wasn't the correct timing, but certainly he will make those statements at the tribunal.
Is the club at all worried that Andrew Gaff's played his last game in the Eagles' colours?
Well, we hope not. That probably complicates a few things for Andrew, but certainly from our point of view, we'd like to think that it's not.
There's some tweets that went out after the incident from the West Coast Eagles account that had pictures of players getting around Gaff, another comment like it's all happening. Is that the correct message to send from that account, do you think, after the incident?
Oh, it's important for us to support our players, to support all of our players, regardless of incidents and other things, particularly when a player is distressed. And he was distressed. It was genuine. And when a player is genuinely remorseful and distressed at any time, of course you're going to support him. And our players did that, and so did our coach.
He's not the real victim, though.
He was playing at the time. He wouldn't have known. He wouldn't have been reading the tweets as he was playing. It went out to fans of pictures of the other teammates getting around him.
Yeah, they're entitled to get They're entitled to get around a player who's remorseful.
My understanding is that one was deleted, though. That tweet was deleted.
Trevor, do you know why they didn't show the incident on the big screen at the game? Is there a policy on that, or?
No, I'm not sure.
Mr. Nisbett, what did you make of the comments of Tom Percy immediately after the game?
Well, I thought that Tom's comments were inappropriate and they inflamed the situation, and we were very disappointed with what he had to say.
Were Ross Lyon's comments in the post-match, were they appropriate?
No, they weren't. I didn't think they were, and unfortunately they were made.
What about what he said do you particularly object to?
Well, I'd like to think that when you make those comments, you try to take out the emotion of the situation. It's very difficult to do that, but you also need to be extremely accurate if you're going to make comments like that.
Is that one of the reasons, those comments, one of the reasons why relationships between the clubs are currently strained?
Probably.
Is he sort of referring to the 100-metre comment?
Oh, there's a number of comments.
Some people are calling for bans of up to 12 weeks. Do you think that's over the top, Trevor, or?
I'm not going to comment on penalty. I don't think that's appropriate. I think that the thing that we can do from this point on is we'll have to let this process run its course. Hopefully, Andrew Brayshaw will be fine and he'll get back to football as soon as possible. We do care about his welfare. We're hoping that everything goes to plan from here on in for the family, and I think that's where we'll leave it. Thank you.